Welcome to the Mindful Mama podcast, where we navigate controversial topics, deep dive into life-changing stories, and engage in meaningful conversation. Join us in embracing the beauty of mindful motherhood. I'm your host, Corinne Adele. Welcome back to the Mindful Mama podcast. My most popular guest by far is back in the hot seat. I think this is your fourth time on the podcast.
I'm the most popular or I'm the most frequent? Because I'm the easiest pick for getting on this thing.
Yeah, when I'm like, babe, I need to record tonight, he's the easiest one to get on. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about my favorite subject. You guys all know I love talking about circumcision. This is the third podcast I'm doing on it. But you guys are really interested in it, and I thought it would be helpful to share Aiden's perspective, share our story, because a lot of what I hear from women in my DMs is that their husband is not on board with leaving their son intact. And it's a struggle, and a lot of women don't know what to do. So my husband was also not on board, but now he is. So we're going to kind of share about that. I pulled up some questions too, so we'll go over those, but I think we should just start with sharing our story. Should we start there? When we got pregnant with our son, it was not my intention to leave him intact. I was going to do what every other American does, and we were going to circumcise. Like, why wouldn't we? It literally wasn't even a thought in my mind that's just what you do. Like, you don't leave your boy intact. You get the surgery done. So that was our initial plan. I feel like we never had a conversation about it until one day I was laying in bed scrolling on Netflix, and the documentary American Circumcision was on Netflix, and I was like, this sounds interesting. I'm going to watch this documentary. And I watched it, and it blew my mind. If you guys have not watched that documentary, I will link it down below. This was literally life-changing for me after watching that documentary. So after I watched it, because we were pregnant with a boy, I was like, oh my gosh, we are not circumcising him. That's an absolute no for me. And I then had Aiden watch it with me.
I thought you had me watch like the elephant in the room.
Yeah, that's the one that changed your mind.
Oh, got it.
We watched American Circumcision, and he did not give a single F about it. It did not change his mind at all, which is insane to me, because if you've seen that documentary, it is so good. He was kind of on his phone most of the time, just kind of not paying attention, didn't really care. Probably because you didn't want your mind to be changed.
Probably not.
To be honest. So
young, naive, didn't want to have my mind changed, didn't feel the need that it needed to be changed.
Did you kind of feel like it was your choice rather than my choice since you're a man? Because I feel like that's a very popular, like, oh, the man deals with it.
I kind of do feel like it was, not that it was my choice per se, but the decision making was bestowed on me being the man.
Yeah. After that, I kind of put it on the shelf for a little bit, because I think we were probably like halfway through the pregnancy or something, and circumcision just kept being brought up over and over and over again, because when you're pregnant with a boy, people ask that question. At least like our family did, my family did. It was just brought up a lot, and every time I would even just be like, yeah, we're gonna do it or whatever. But as time came closer and closer to having our baby, I became more and more against it. I think I was like following intactivist Instagrams online, and I was just, I think, looking into a lot of different things, and it did not feel right to me. I was reading people's Instagram posts, all of that stuff. And so I don't think me and Aiden really, did we ever talk about it again before I delivered? Or was it really a fight once he was here? I don't know. I just remember it being like a point of contention, and you would get really like snippy about it and upset every time I tried to bring it up. And then fast forward to delivery. What really saved us is we did not get the vitamin K shot. And in Washington State, no pediatrician will circumcise a baby boy without the vitamin K shot. And actually, when the doctors were coming in and trying to bully us about this decision, one of the doctors was using that as leverage. They were like, well, are you going to get your son circumcised? Because you can't get him circumcised without the vitamin K shot. And family happened to be in the room when that was happening. And they kind of took it upon themselves to say, well, there's a doctor in Idaho that will do it without vitamin K. So then Aiden was like, okay, well, I have my plan. We're just going to go to Idaho and do it there, and it will be fine. So we get home, and the first like couple days of Israel's life is just this decision where Aiden is wanting to get this done and I am not, and we're fighting. And it literally, I'm a first time mom. I'm trying to learn how to breastfeed. I just gave birth. Like, I hurt a lot down there, and this was causing, yes, we're fighting,
cutting our son's penis off.
It was so bad. And finally I messaged my chiropractor, and I was like, please help me. Like, I don't know what to say to Aiden. What can I do to change his mind? I really don't want to do this to my son, because I had been talking to her about it before I delivered. And also I was nannying a little boy, and his family left him intact. So I was talking to his mom about this decision as well. And she was chatting with me about their reasonings for it and all of that. So I kind of had like all of these mommy mentors giving me advice and stuff. So as a Hail Mary, I messaged my chiropractor, and I was like, please give me something. So she ended up sending me a link to another documentary called The Elephant in the Hospital Room. And she was like, you need to have your husband watch this, and I think this will really help him change his mind. She also told me a very horrific story of one of her, is it client or patient? Patients. One of her patients got it done, and their baby hemorrhaged. They brought their baby home, put their baby down for a nap, went to go check on their baby. Their baby was cold and full of blood. That baby did survive, thankfully, but she had told me that story to tell Aiden. Like, I was just like grasping at straws trying to figure out what the heck to do to get my husband to stop. So, Israel was 3 days old, and I was like, okay, let's sit down and please just watch this documentary. And in the documentary, there is a circumcision being performed, and it's like not blurred or anything.
Or muted.
Nothing.
Or anything.
It's the procedure. You watch the procedure being done. And so I had Aiden hold our 3-day-old baby, who was 5 pounds, by the way.
Barely.
He was tiny. And whenever Aiden gets uncomfortable watching things, he sits here and he like grabs his beard. It's like what is it called?
Coping mechanism.
Your coping mechanism, the way that you like stim to calm yourself down. And he was doing that like the whole time watching that video. And then he kind of like turned ghost white.
It's barbaric.
Yeah, it's horrible. But we still didn't talk about it after that.
It was freaking obvious that it was a no after me
But
watching that. Like,
we still didn't talk about it, and
we didn't need to talk about it.
you ended up were getting an appointment set in Idaho. I had kind of like thrown my hands up and I was like, you're going to deal with this. I'm not going to have any part of it. If this is that big of a deal for you, whatever. We watched the documentary, and then our friends came over that night. Ashlyn and Jake. And my friend at the time also had a son who was intact, and her husband is intact. And the conversation got brought up. And we were all basically my friend was just being like, yeah, it's just no big deal. Like, cleaning it is no big deal. And yada, yada, yada. And her husband was there who's intact. And he's like, yep, it's not a big deal. I don't get bullied. No one literally cares about my penis. And Aiden ends up saying, yeah, we're not going to circumcise him. And I was like, what? Like, he didn't tell me. We had no conversation. But then when our friends came over, he ended up telling them his decision in front of me. So then I was like, oh, finally I can freaking relax, because it was the fight of my life trying to keep my boy from being
Mutilated.
So that's kind of like a short version of our story.
Synopsis. If anyone's husband is in the boat of you can't change my mind, go watch that documentary, because oh my Lord, will it change your mind?
I actually think that the new updated version does blur it though, so I'm not sure. I have resources linked where you can watch an unblurred circumcision. I think every person who thinks that they're going to choose this for their baby, I feel like it should be a requirement for you to watch the procedure before you do it. I feel like 99.9% of the procedures would not happen if parents watched it beforehand. I have questions we can go over. So, what were your initial thoughts about circumcision before I finally got your mind changed? Like, what were you thinking back then when we were arguing?
You exactly what I was thinking.
Okay, tell me.
Because I thought exactly what every single other circumcised male thinks. And it's, I want him to look like me. I don't want to have the awkward question of, Dad, why does your penis look different than mine? Which, by the way, hasn't happened in 5 years. And Israel is very aware of everything in life. The cleanliness thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's just a lack of education.
That is a
Most
lack of
people
education.
are very uneducated on that piece.
But like the biggest contributor to it is, I want my son to look like me. And I've heard the like, oh, he could get bullied in the locker room. And it's like, if someone's bullying you about your penis, that person has bigger problems, and it's not something you need to worry about.
I also felt like you had a lot of pressure from family as well.
I did.
Really wanting that for our son.
Also the biblical thing, which is super incorrect, for one.
Yeah, I just filmed an episode on the realities of what the Bible says about circumcision, so...
And even what biblical circumcision is. Biblical circumcision, they take off like 1/4 of an inch. Most
of the foreskin is left.
Yes, they basically just take off the piece that sticks up above the tip of the penis so that the urethra is exposed, is basically all that happens in Jewish biblical, like, old-time circumcision. And it's evolved into taking off inch plus of foreskin.
Yeah, a lot of it.
So the biblical thing that people try to protest with is completely wrong. They don't know what they're talking about when they say that. I could understand a biblical circumcision if it was relevant, but it's not, because Jesus Christ was our blood sacrifice, and we don't need to sacrifice any part of our body to him.
Yeah, because we live in the new covenant.
Exactly. We don't need to set ourselves apart from another group of people.
Physically, outwardly,
Yes.
inwardly through baptism.
Obviously,
Sure.
but I'm talking talking about the circumcision, the subject of circumcision. It was used to set themselves apart, the men, from other groups of people.
It was also obedience as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sacrificial obedience and setting the Israelites apart from everyone else. So basically just the typical male thoughts.
And I feel like every other circumcised man has the same argument.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard the argument 1,000 times, and it's always the same exact thing. Oh, it's biblical. Oh, he should look like you. Oh, the cleanliness. Oh, he's going to get UTIs when he's 97 years old.
Yeah. Well, that is true. There is increased infections with elderly men that are in
Nursing homes.
And
Because they're not properly cared for.
And yes, it's because, unfortunately, they are not properly cared for. America lacks a lot of education when it comes to intact care in babies, in grown men, and old men. It's really sad. So the very interesting thing about the comparison thing to me is that I think that's like the most vain, weird, gross thing to say. Like, I want my kid to look like me. First of all, when are you sitting around comparing penises with your son? First of all.
Yeah.
And also, like, I would never sit around comparing vulvas with my mom and saying, "Oh my gosh, I need to cut this part. Maybe I should put some filler into this part so that we look the same." Like, it's literally ridiculous.
Gotta plump this up.
There's a lot of, like, every single excuse, if you just sit with it a little bit and you actually put some thought process into it, you're like, oh my gosh, like, what? Why was I thinking that, you know? It's just very odd. Our skin is our biggest organ, which means it absorbs all of the toxins we are exposing ourselves to every day. Because of this, I'm very mindful about the skincare and body care I use for myself. Osea formulates their skincare with seaweed because it's a superfood rich in vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. Different species of seaweed can provide a myriad of benefits, including anti-aging and moisturization. They source their seaweed from different places around the world based on its high mineral content and combines it with other naturally derived ingredients. Use my code Corinne10 for 10% off, or see the link in my show notes. So at what point did your views start to change?
The moment I saw that baby boy strapped to that apparatus in the elephant in the hospital room.
I think one good thing to mention if you are a wife listening to this, or a woman and you can't get your man to listen to it, is that men are visual. Men are very visual. Like, God created them to be visual. And having a visual of what is going to happen to your baby is helpful. I think what was even more impactful for us is the fact that our son was born when Aiden watched that video. Because men have a hard time bonding with their child in the womb. Like, you can't really bond that well with the child until they're born. So if you're super desperate like me and you literally cannot get your man on board, waiting until the baby is born, having them hold the baby and watch that video, I'm telling you, that's the cocktail for success.
It's like the protector mode thing.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
Holding my 72-hour-old son, 3-day-old son, who is, 5 pounds, barely.
I honestly don't even think they would have been able to do the surgery on him. He was so tiny. He was like a preemie size.
Wrapped in his gold fleece diapers.
I feel like they would have probably said, you're going to have to come back when he grows, because he was literally so tiny.
Yeah, but I was holding him, sitting there watching this happen to this other little boy. And I was like, there is no earthly way that I can put him through this. Like, for one, I'm going to have to live with it, knowing that I directly put my kid through this. Two, I'm not just going to hand him off to a doctor. I'm going to have to go, hold his hand through the situation and listen to him scream and watch them do unspeakable things to my son. And at that point I was just like, there's no way I can make this happen. There's no way I could not even make this happen. There's no way I could allow this to happen to my son. And that was really the turning point, was like, okay, I have this. He's mine to protect. Doing this to him does not benefit him, and it doesn't protect him in doing this. It's going to cause him pain and trauma, and it's my job to protect him from pain and trauma. And it was just instantaneous seeing that happen. From the moment I saw them strap that little boy down into that, whatever they call it, I was like, nope.
Torture device.
I knew right then and there. I was like, nope. And then they went with diagram visuals on how they separate the
membrane,
the foreskin from the head of the penis. And I was like, they're going to basically shove a spoon in between.
Ugh. It wasn't a spoon. It's like a pick.
Yeah. Yeah. Hell no. It wasn't happening. There was no way at that point. As soon as I saw like the first 10 seconds of this procedure, I was like, nope, not happening. I knew right then and there.
Yeah. I'm telling you guys, that's the cocktail for success. If your husband is really fighting you, like, I feel like most men, not to be rude to my husband, but most men, after being a little more educated, they are on board with leaving their baby intact. Aiden needed extra work put into him. And honestly, I really think it's just, it's a pride thing. It's a pride issue, which is actually kind of sick if you think about it. It is. And it's vain. And it's just weird. Okay. Let's see here if there's anything else.
Well, it's also cultural.
Yeah.
In America, it's cultural,
cultural,
at least, because it's so taboo or socially unacceptable to be uncircumcised or be intact at this day and age.
Okay, were you ever nervous about how others would respond, like family or friends? Because we had a lot of pressure from family members who were not a fan of our choice at the time.
I don't know. Nervous? I don't know if nervous is the right descriptor. Apprehensive, maybe? Like, I don't know how to explain what I was feeling, but I knew...
Like tension?
I just knew that it was going to be something that was brought up between me and my family, and that it was going to be like, oh, well, you didn't do that. And I knew that it was going to be an argument, basically. Or at least that's what I perceived what was going to happen, was that it was going to be a problem in my world, which is a crazy thought, to have a problem between you and your direct family about your son's penis. Like,
I know.
Saying that sentence out loud,
it's odd,
is crazy. Could you imagine having a problem with someone you knew over their kid's penis?
I mean, I can absolutely imagine me not wanting someone to circumcise their baby.
No,
but
I completely understand that.
Yeah.
But I mean, like,
I know.
I was perceiving that it was going to be a point of tension between me and my family. Not that it was just going to be like a disagreement, but it was going to be like a letdown, you know?
I don't ever remember really having conversations about it after, to be honest.
I don't either. It was one of those things where once we decided, they respected our decision.
Yeah. And it's never been an issue since then. But we are cycle breakers on both sides of our family. So that's kind of huge to be like the first like the first ones to step out of the norm in a lot of ways, but like specifically
all the ways.
in this way, because circumcision brings up a lot of shame, guilt, and regret. Like once you know the truth about the procedure, you can't unknow it. And a lot of people are not willing to face that or sit with themselves because they don't want to feel those harsh feelings about their choice. So a lot of people will just go even more hardcore with like their choice instead of like kind of owning up to their choice and being like, yeah, you know what? I didn't research it. Oh my gosh. Dang. Okay, I can see why you want to leave your boy intact, you know? So it is kind of cool to know that we're cycle breakers, and hopefully this will continue to be generationally the norm.
I feel like it's headed that way. I feel like there's a lot more people.
Yes.
It's a lot more socially acceptable to be uncircumcised now.
Yeah, it's definitely becoming
not taboo.
Yeah, like honestly, all of my friends that have boys left them intact for the most part. Like most of my friends, I would say like 90% of my friends have left their boys intact. Some of them have to do with me because I was able to educate them, which is amazing. I just always tell mom, kind of become regret moms, that like you don't know what you don't know. And when you know better, you do better. Because if I hadn't come across that documentary and decide to watch it, there was nobody in my life that was educating me. I mean, my chiropractor might have brought something up to me, but doubt it, because it's super, super taboo. Like you don't really bring that up to people. But yeah, there was nobody in my ear.
How do you start that conversation? Hey, are you going to cut your son's penis off?
Well,
are you going to mutilate your son at 3 days old?
Yeah. So I didn't have anyone that was educating me on this. And I just happened to come across a documentary. So I feel like I got really lucky with it. But also, like 6 years ago when I was pregnant for the first time, it was a little bit less common, I think. And now it's becoming a lot more of the norm, which is great. Okay. What would you say to another dad who still believes circumcision is necessary, whether for tradition, hygiene, or religious reasons?
We've already touched on the religion. It is a religious thing. Mm-hmm. It is no longer a needed or valid religious thing.
For Christians, we don't really know anything about other people's religions, but
true. But as Christ followers, it's not mandated in the new covenant that this needs to happen. So it's not necessary. Tradition wise, I would ask you to look at yourself inwardly, and really kind of look at yourself and ask yourself, why does cutting your son's penis off seem like a good idea? How does that benefit you as a father? It doesn't. What is it? Oh, I want him to look like me.
What's the root of that?
Yeah, I want him to look at me. Okay, you don't say hello with your penis. It's not something you just pull out and compare.
Well, that's why I just think it's a pride issue or a vain issue. And sometimes it's like this rite of passage where men who are circumcised themselves are like, well, I had to do it, so my son's going to do it.
I don't know if I ever had that thought. Yeah, I would dare you to look inward and really figure out why. Why do you want this? Other than, oh, he should look like me. Because that is so invalid. Because at no point in your life should you be comparing how your penis looks with your son.
Well, and it's like, if you think about you as a son.
Because that's weird.
would you be like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I look like my dad? Like, have you ever had that thought in your mind?
Not even once.
It's like, what the heck? It's just so weird. It really is just so weird. And I just think, like, for all of the people who are super pro-choice, I sure as heck hope that you are an intactivist if you are pro-choice.
Yeah, because I mean, if you want your child to be able to choose whatever they want for themselves, they can choose to be circumcised.
Yes. 18? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of benefit to waiting to be circumcised until you're an adult. One of them being you get to be put under. Also, you're fully developed at that point for the most part. So they're going to know exactly how much foreskin to remove. And a lot of people are like, well, that is extremely painful. I would never want to do that.
Excuse me?
I know. Well,
Hello?
yeah. Well, yes. Yep. But also my response is cosmetic procedures are painful. Like women getting breast implants, the recovery I've heard is horrid. Tummy tucks, horrid. BBLs, horrid. Even getting lip filler and Botox is painful. A cosmetic procedure is gonna hurt regardless. It's gonna hurt. So it's just really sad that people are like, yeah, let's just get it done as a baby so that they don't remember it. Like, they consciously may not remember it, but their brain stores trauma. And there are studies done on the brains of boys who have been circumcised, and they do have trauma. The body keeps the score. They do. They have trauma.
Be a trauma you can't deal with either. It's like a subconscious. You don't know what it's from.
I don't know, because I have had a friend tell me that her man realized that his sexual trauma rooted from being is rooted in being circumcised. Like, he literally figured that out himself because they decided to keep their boys intact. So he was watching and researching all of the trauma, and he has major porn addictions and sex addictions and all of this stuff. And he basically like discovered himself that he has massive trauma from being circumcised. So men can do it. You just have to be very self-aware, I think. Has this shifted how you approach other parenting decisions or conversations around bodily autonomy? I feel like it has for me, because before we made this choice to leave our son intact, I wouldn't blink an eye at like getting a baby's ears pierced. I always thought that I would get my daughter's ears pierced as a baby. After looking at circumcision, I then was like, oh my gosh, like getting your baby's ears pierced is
traumatic.
Similar. It's not as crazy, but it's still unconsented procedure that is painful and requires healing that has no health benefit. It's not to better their lives in any way. It's purely cosmetic and for vanity reasons. Whether or not it's flippin' adorable, like a baby girl with earrings is stinking cute, it's not right. So it changed my mind on that, because I always thought we would get our baby girl's ears pierced.
Could you imagine Cicely with freaking earrings?
I know, she'd be so cute. But I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for them to ask if they ever do.
And we're not going to go to Claire's.
No, we won't go to Claire's. Any closing thoughts that you would like to share on this subject?
I don't think so. I mean, we've covered pretty much everything on multiple occasions, and now we've gone over a couple of different questions that kind of had the same theme.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything to close out here other than leave your little boys intact.
heavy on the intact. I have a couple of different episodes on this subject. If you want to go listen to those, I kind of go more into depth about the procedure and the reasons why you should leave your baby intact. I also talk about like the debunked health issues. I had a gal come on and talk with me, and she helped assist in circumcision. So she kind of has a good view to bring to the conversation. And then I've also done a small episode on biblical circumcision and if God requires us to circumcise our babies. So I have all sorts of resources. If you go to my Instagram, I have a whole highlight with a bunch of links there as well. And then I'm going to leave a couple of links below, probably the documentaries that we recommend. And I hope this is helpful. I hope that it can give you some hope if you're in the trenches with your man who is really wanting to get this procedure done. I was there. I went through hell and back. It was horrible. Like, me and Aiden have never disagreed on anything parenting wise, to be honest, except for this. And it was horrible. But the formula, I'm going to go over it one more time. If your man doesn't change his mind before your baby is born, home. Or if you have home birth, stay home. And turn on the elephant in the hospital room while your husband holds your baby boy.
Big screen TV.
Yep.
Surround sound.
No blurring. Watch the full procedure. That'll do it.
Tape his eyelids open so he can't look away.
Take his phone away. That literally is the recipe for success, I'm telling you. But that's also like last resort. Because again, I feel like most men are like, once they're a little bit more educated, they're like, okay, I'm on board. I've heard, my friends, my best friend literally barely had to say anything to her man, and he was on board, and I'm like, what the heck? So yeah. Anyways, I think that pretty much covers this subject in this episode. And again, I hope that it was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.
Bye, guys.
And that concludes today's episode. If you found value in this conversation or resonate with it in any way, I'd love for you to leave me a review on whatever platform you're listening in on and share about it on social media. Your support means the world. For more content like this, you can follow me at Corinne Adele on all platforms. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week.